Hello, and welcome to the virtual Nordic and Baltic Oscar Contenders series presented by Scandinavia House in New York, the Scandinavian Film Festival of Los Angeles, and the Baltic Film Expo at SFFLA. The films presented in this series are those chosen by the respective countries to compete for the Oscar nomination for Best International Feature category. Today we are talking with the directors of the Kicksled Choir, a short film from Norway, this film is eligible for the Best Short Film for the Oscar nominations. So today we are speaking with writer and director Torfinn Iversen, the actor Benoni Brox Krane, and the producer Julia Andersen. Moderating today's talk is Jim Cunning, the founder and director of the Scandinavian Film Festival of Los Angeles. Welcome and thank you for joining.
Well, welcome everybody. It's great to be together virtually from two parts of the world, and I should start out saying that one of the great joys of doing a festival for a long time is that we get to see, we're introduced to the work of writers, directors, and actors through their work, and then we get the pleasure of seeing them again and again. I think short film is a special art, and it's like poetry. You can't waste any. There's no time to waste. And over the more than 2 decades of the festival, we've seen wonderful short films, and then a few years later, it's that director's feature film is the Oscar submission in the feature film category. And so we get to see careers grow, and we get to brag and say we were there when we were there back when. So all that being said, today we're vocalizing with the Kicksled Choir, an outstanding Norwegian short film, and we're so happy to have Torfinn, Julia, and Benoni with us. And I'd like to start with a question for the youngest. And that is, tell us about the singing in the film. Did you do your own singing?
No, it was not my own singing. It was probably some professional singer in...
We totally believed it. And also I want to know if there were many retakes on the scenes with the kick sleds, because that must have been fun. That must have been more fun than having to clean up in the barn.
Yeah, it was very fun to be in the kicksled. We took a lot of takes. We had to have the right speed, but we didn't want to lose it, so it didn't was connected, and yeah, but it was very fun. It was
fun. Torfinn and Julia, I'm curious, did you create the town, or is it a real town?
It is a real town up north, Northern Norway. We shot at a place called Film Camp, the infrastructure for feature films and TV series and short films. So they have a studio, they have facilities, catering, makeup, art department areas. So you can fit a crew for about 60 people there.
And there is a snow guarantee also. That's good in the winter. So we had this location in mind as we wrote the script for this film.
How amazing is that? Was the singing group, the adult singing group, and the were they from the town, or were they were actors?
No, they were locals from the town, most of them. Yeah, but they were 3 separate choirs actually. And we put together.
Well, there's something about music and the healing power of music. I believe it was around 2001, there was a documentary about a singing group from way up north called Cool and Crazy that got really tremendous response here. So those Norwegians are singing.
Yes.
There are so many choirs in this country. It's
Yes.
incredible. Yes. And every
where did the idea for the story come from?
We were sitting on a warm summer day 2 years ago and talked about childhood memories and trying to invent a new idea for a film. And then she told me about her kicksled riding as a kid, where you put together 2 or 3 of the kicksleds, and I did the same also as a kid, and I hadn't done that in 30 years. So then we thought, what if we just make a long line, if 15, 20 kicksleds together, and they all sing and do it for
charity.
Yeah, exactly. That, and step by step we developed this idea, and it took many rounds, and with the main character Gabriel in mind from the beginning.
A couple of days ago, I had to explain to someone what a kicksled was, because they hadn't even seen snow, let alone a kicksled, and they were totally taken by the idea of a kicksled and wanted to go somewhere and try one out.
Yeah.
We still use them, that's for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
I was fascinated in the film by and how you let us discover through the father-son relationship. It was at first you didn't understand why the father was kind of mean, but then you started understanding. Tell us about this father-son relationship you had going there.
Yeah, how can I say it? I think many can relate to it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think many can relate to it, and I think it is a very typical, very typical father-son relationship that many can relate to, and I feel that the boy was brave, and how they came closer in the situation that in the start were not good for any of them.
Yeah, and then of course later we find out that we find out why the mother isn't there, and maybe why the father is in such a dark place. I'm curious, was there anything intentional about a boy being named Gabriel and singing like an angel?
Yeah, that's intentional.
Yeah.
So you're the first person who caught that, kind of. No one else asked us about that.
Oh, that jumped out at me. And also, well, I'm a musician, and I was wondering about was the choice of music, other than that the Fauré Requiem P.A. Jesu is just a beautiful piece and very touching in a child's voice. Was there anything intentional about that choice? Because the P.A. Jesu is really part of the Dies Irae, which is full of wrath and anger like the father had, and then all of a sudden you get this healing factor throughout the film. Every time the father hears him singing the words to the merciful Jesus, grant them eternal rest, and it sort of puts the issues to rest eventually.
Yeah, well, Torfinn is a hobby musician, kind of, and it was your idea to use the song.
I grew up with a grandfather who taught me to play accordion, and I played a lot of accordion. And I also grew up in a very small town where there were some choirs, and the music you hear in this film is very typical choir music. I think some of the local choirs around Vårvinda Friska.
Absolutely,
yeah.
But also for Pia Jesu, remember you said, wouldn't this be wonderful if we could have it in the film? I said, yes, of course, but are we going to find someone who's going to sing it well enough? And I was a bit unsure if we were able to pull it off, but you were so sure the whole way. And I'm happy you insisted.
And it worked so beautifully with, you have the kind of harshness of life on the farm in the cold climate, and then Gabriel is standing there in the contrast with standing there in the barn, and a lot of people haven't been in a barn, but barns are kind of yucky places when you've got to clean them up and all this, and then you have this. He breaks into song, and the father sees that, and it seems to melt the ice.
Yeah, it's a bit when you talk about ice, we of course snow, and we try to make a lot of the scenes to shoot them through windows. Gabriel is watching through the window, the choir on the other side. The Kicksled Choir comes in front of the window when they are eating dinner, and through the car, and the father is repairing a window. We are not sure what happened to that, to create a kind of a icy distance between everyone, or especially Gabriel and the father. So talk about ice and the mental.
That worked beautifully. That worked beautifully. Also, when someone is the kid is alienated from his dad, doesn't understand that behavior, and he wants to go. He wants to go into the singing group, but he's looking in from the outside, and the dad, with his problems, is alienated as well. So a typical place of someone that's is on the outside looking in. I thought that just worked beautifully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it also worked cinematically with the ice crystals on the window and all of that. What is the refugee situation? Why do refugees go to these small towns in Northern Norway? Is there work for them there, or what's the situation?
No, they were sent there. They didn't have a choice.
They're sent there.
Yes, this was kind of inspired by the refugee crisis in Europe in 2015. A lot of refugees and immigrants came to Norway, and
stayed at film camp, actually.
Yeah, and they were just placed out in the outskirts of middle of Norway. You know, Norway is a very long and narrow country, and we have a lot of outskirts, and a lot of refugees were placed by themselves in old buildings and hospitals and stuff like that.
I was shocked. A few years ago, we had a film from the Norwegian Kurdish director Hisham Zaman called Winterland, and it was a story that took place in the far north, in a refugee story. And a couple of years later, I asked him, and the guy that was the main character did such a good job. And a couple of years later, I asked about him. And I was so shocked because they said, oh, well, he had to go back to the refugee camp. And
horrible.
It's sad. All over the world, we have lots of sad situations. I'm shocked to hear that there's a whole studio set up there for. That's a good plug for our industry people here in the United States. Take note. There's snowy location shooting is available.
Absolutely.
So check it out. I see that. Torfinn, you've done a lot of short films, and you've done a film that won a big prize at the Lucas Festival, which is a festival for international festival for young film lovers that takes place in Frankfurt and Wiesbaden. And I see that you're working on a new project. Also, there's a little father-son thing going on here, maybe, called Uncle Egg Searching for a Dad. Tell us about your project, because one thing is for sure, Kicksled Choir really makes us want to see more and more.
Oh, thank you. That's nice. Yeah, the Kicksled Choir felt like an important story to tell. It was growing on us for a long time. And that is also the same with Uncle Egg Searching for a Dad, which is about a young boy from Northern Norway who is 12 years old. And one day he really wants to find out, who is my father? So he asks his mother, who has not been talking much about this, and he gets to know that your father is named Jörg Müller and lives in Germany. So she met him when she was on an interrail tour 12 years ago. And then he sets out on a trip together with his bit cuckoo-obsessed uncle to find his real father. But the problem is that there are actually 25,000 people with the same name in Germany called Jörg Müller, which it doesn't make it easy to find him. So it's a nice kind of father story also.
Absolutely, coming of age.
Coming of age, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds wonderful. Is this film in the youth category or just general?
I think it's maybe a bit the same as this Oscars America, my feature film. This protagonist is 12 years old, so maybe a bit older the audience target group, but we will see. It's still in the writing phase, and we have participated at the Cine Kids Script Lab in Amsterdam and during Berlinale last year with this project. So it's now in development for production.
Amazing, amazing. Well, what did it feel like to find out that Kicksled is the Oscar contender?
Oh.
Well, we almost didn't believe it.
No.
He got an email from Anne Wikström at the Chicago International Children's Film Festival.
Sure.
Yes, and he said, I got an email from Anne. You have to read it with me, because I don't know I don't get it. I think we won something. Like, what? And I think we read it about 5 times.
Yeah, it said very confidential.
Yes.
So we could not tell anyone in weeks.
Yeah.
I think I would not only read it, I would frame it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were I think we were sweating. We're like, what is this? It was the middle of the winter. But yeah, great news. We're so happy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's so well deserved. There's so many layers to this film. You know, you watch it and you see this simple story at first, and then you start thinking of these different relationships, even the relationship with the townspeople. I mean, obviously this dad is an angry guy. He's got some issues going on, but the people aren't mean to him in response. They're kind of understanding and explain, well, his wife left and they had troubles and all of that. So I think it's just all the way around. It says something very nice about Norway and Norwegians and human kindness, how it buys a lot.
Yeah, they really try to include him in what's going on in the village, but he's the one who's pulling away, and it's understandable,
It's all about the fear of the unknown, and at the same time a charity, and I feel there is, as I grew up, a lot I could observe, which some inspiration from my own life when we wrote the script of this story. So there is a lot to take from a small town where you sometimes can be also afraid of the unknown, and at the same time it's meant for something good, because his father is also not really sure about his own life and his own problems, and the wife who left, and how to deal with everything. So that was very nice. Yeah, and so we had a lot of fun also when we worked, me and Benoni and Stig Henrik, who is playing the father. It was really nice things we developed also in the dialogue on the set, actually, which was not really written in the script, but talking back and forth, so to these nuances in a way.
How did you talk the actor that played the refugee into agreeing to be thrown in the lake?
Oh,
that had to be cold.
Yeah, he is from Tromsø, and he was working in a kindergarten in Tromsø, and he came on the audition, and we tried out different things, and then he wanted to be a part of it. And of course, he had under the costumes.
He had a wetsuit, and we had a stunt also. Yes.
But the good thing was that at film camp, which was 5 or 10 minutes drive away, it was a warm sauna. So he said it was okay, actually, to get in there, but it was really, really cold, I think.
It was, but of course, we had a stunt team that was standing next to him, and as soon as he was done in the water, put him in a hot car and going back to film camp in the hot sauna.
He was brave. He was very brave.
I can relate to that, because one time in high school I was ice skating and the ice went through. So I got to ride in a warm car back home. Benoni, here in the United States right now, a lot of kids are doing school completely on their computers. Because of the COVID situation. What's it like for you? Are you able to be in your school or online?
Now we are in school physically, but the older students in high school and so on, they have school on computers. But I had school on computer in March and April. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm just waiting to see this film win all kinds of awards. And to see all of your work again, and thanks for this beautiful filmmaking. I know we know some people in common, like Toril at the Norwegian Film Institute, big champion of short films. I think Toril Simonsen is a discoverer and loves nothing more than to discover work like yours, and we wish you all the best with it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.